Evans Elementary is pleased to be able to share with you our journey in building a culture of literacy. When we opened in 2007, 10 years ago, it's hard to believe, we had a vision of creating a school where not only did students learn all subjects, but where the students were excited about literacy. I would like to introduce Mr. John Raber, our Evans reading specialist, who with Jacob Henson, grade 4, Alexa Henson, grade 1, and Connor Russo in grade 1, will show you the journey Evans took in building our culture of literacy. John?
Thank you, Mrs. Havrilla, and thank you for the opportunity to present this evening. When Mrs. Havrilla met with me and we talked about what we wanted to present tonight, it was hard just to isolate one area of literacy that we do because, as Mrs. Havrilla said, it's been 10 years in the making. So we took this diagram and we thought, well, we really focused it among our staff, our students, and the community, and how they work separately but in together to build the culture of literacy that we've been trying to do at Evans Elementary. I'm briefly going to talk about the staff. This is a district-wide expectations for literacy, the 120 minutes of the English language arts block. We have the balanced literacy approach. Daily guided reading is a huge component and an expectation of the district and of Mrs. Havrilla. As a matter of fact, teachers know that if she does a walkthrough, you need to be prepared to have your guided reading lesson plans available to her. It's extremely important. And then when I was meeting with some of the students that are here tonight, they reminded me, Mr. Raber, don't forget that we do silent sustained reading. We have free read and we have opportunities for dear time, which is drop everything and read. So those were the students' input in tonight's presentation. The other piece I just want to touch on briefly is something I'm really proud about. It's RTII, which is target time. This is also district-wide. It's implemented differently in every building, but at Evans we kind of have a truer model where we use universal screenings with all the students. We provide an additional half hour of reading instruction beyond that 120-minute ELA block. And we look at students based on benchmark, strategic, and intensive level of need. If they're meeting grade level expectations, we put them in benchmark and they can work with other peers who have similar instructional needs, similar with strategic and intensive, but we make the group smaller so we can really target their academic needs. And of course, we have data meetings and progress monitoring to make sure that the students' needs are being met and that we're constantly looking at challenging our students. One of the neat things that I think Mrs. Havrilla has implemented over the years is making sure that the staff appreciates literacy professionally. So we've had after-school book clubs where we read as a staff volunteer basis A Fair Isn't Always Equal, which is a great book about differentiation. This year she did a professional learning network where we were blogging and staff could pick one of the bottom 5 books presented here. Of course, I picked Hacking Literacy, but there was a book for everybody. So each staff member got to pick a book to read and then blog about it, and we were given some professional time during staff meetings also to talk about these books. And just aside, we do have a staff of readers. We also have in one of our instructional rooms, we have a give a book, take a book. So it's something that is dear to my heart, literacy, but it's also part of our whole staff that they are readers as well as making our students readers. What I really want to talk about tonight is focusing on building that culture with our students. Reading incentives, the popularity of reading incentives come and go. We've tried many different things over the years. We've been involved with the Pizza Hut Book It program. We did Reading with the Philadelphia Soul, Six Flags Read to Succeed. We have a great relationship with Limerick Bowl. They provide Booksmarks where students, after they read so many books, can go play a free game of bowling. This year we tried something different. We sent reading logs home with students, and it took us, I think it was Jake will probably correct me, 22 weeks, 21 weeks to read 1,000,000 minutes. It should, but I can't read that well, Jacob. It's a little small for me. The students took home, they just counted their minutes, and they brought them back in, and we would add up the entire building each week, how many minutes were read. And on average, we were doing about 40,000 to 50,000 minutes per week. And that was an at-home challenge because we really wanted to promote the literacy at home and reading at home with your family. Since we opened the building, we've always had Read to the Principal. We always try to tie it in with the school theme. This year, our school theme was Reach for the Stars. So this year, we encouraged students to be a star, which were students talking and reading with Mrs. Havrilla. And I believe this might be our video clip.
What are you going to read there for us?
Is it okay if I just read one chapter?
And how long is one chapter?
Chapter 1, Hatching a Plan. You will know what their plan is once I start to read. Hey, look out behind you. What, is there a skeleton? No, sorry, it's just a rabbit. Blank. You really got exact for a second, TH. Scram, Bunny, I need my beauty sleep.
After students read, they get their picture taken with their book and Mrs. Havrilla, and that gets displayed in our lobby. We noticed a theme with our students that they do like the recognition of practicing their reading skills. Another great program we have, and I really have to thank a Springford parent, PJ Gall. She is our read coordinator, reading education assistant dogs. She contacted us back in 2011, and she has a therapy dog, and she runs this program. She says, I'd really like to bring dogs into your school. We met with Mrs. Havrilla, who has famously had many dogs of her own. She has 3 right now. She says, of course, whatever we can do to promote literacy. This has been a huge success, and I have, maybe, there we go, Alexa Henson. I think we jumped ahead a little bit. Here we go. So I'm going to invite Alexa Henson to come up and share her thoughts.
My name is Alexa Henson, and I am a first grade student. I like their book reviews and read to the dogs. I had to put a good choice ticket in a bin next to Mr. Raber's room. On Thursday, Mr. Raber would pick randomly a good choice ticket out of the bin. Then you would get to read to the dogs on Friday. I liked reading stories to the dogs that I didn't know before. The dogs are friendly and listen to the stories. The dogs are very cute too.
Another thing that we had the students involved with, and I have to thank Mrs. Cooper, she's a 4th grade teacher of ours. She started a random act of kindness club. That could be a whole presentation unto itself. But one of the things that her volunteer students did was do a rack club readers where they went to the classroom and read to the students, and of course it tied in about kindness. And also Evans has participated in Reading Olympics since we opened the building, and I'd like to invite Jacob Henson up to talk about those things. Jacob?
Thank you, Mr. Raber. My name is Jacob Henson, and I am a 4th grade student. I liked being a RAC Club reader, and I liked participating in Reading Olympics. For RAC Club, a few other students and I went around to different classrooms in the younger grades during the Great Kindness Challenge week and the day before PSSAs to read kindness books. I enjoyed this because not only do I enjoy reading and reading to other people, but I also find it rewarding and fun to perform a kind deed. I also enjoyed Reading Olympics. During the Reading Olympics, you go to school early once a week to meet with your coach, exchange books, discuss the books, and read. There is an assigned date to have the Reading Olympics competition with other schools' teams. At the competition, the moderator asks 40 questions at each round about the stories you've read, and the teams answer the questions to earn points. At the end of the competition, teams earn ribbons based on the number of questions answered correctly. This year, all of the Evans teams earned blue ribbons. I enjoyed this because I like to read, and it was fun to work with my team to answer questions about the stories.
Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, once students know that they could be recognized for their work in literacy, we had great success. So one of the things we started this year was doing book reviews. And again, tying into Reach for the Stars, the theme, we said read for the stars. So we challenged our students, hey, why don't you read a book and do a book review? As a matter of fact, we brought one of the displays and hung it up behind the school board there. So if you're looking for a good read, we have some great recommendations behind you. And I'd like to invite Connor Russo up to talk about that.
My name is Connor Russo, and I am a first grade student. I like the book reviews because I can share some of my favorite books with the whole school. First, I read a book. Then, I got a book review from Mr. Raber's office. I drew a picture and wrote why I liked the book. Then I handed it in to Mr. Raber. The next day, I would go on the morning announcements to talk about my book review. Then my book review got hung up on the wall by the gym so everyone could see my review.
You did awesome. I think Connor has broken the record for number of reviews. And as a matter of fact, I have to meet with him tomorrow to hang up another review in the hallway. He asked me this evening. We have another video that we'd like to share, and you may recognize
Morning,
some of the
Evans
students.
Elementary. It's Mr. Raber here. How are you? Good. I wanted to emphasize that I am looking for book recommendations on our book display, Read for the Books, Read for the Stars. And I have two friends who actually read some books and wrote a book review. This is, can I have your name, young man?
Jacob Henson.
Jacob Henson. And can I have your name, young lady?
Alexa Henson.
Alexa Henson. Hey, you have the same last name.
Yeah, we do.
That's crazy. Do you know each other?
Yeah, we're brother and sister.
No.
Yeah.
Really? Are you making that up?
No.
No. So, Jake, you read this book. What's the title of your book?
Wonder.
Wonder. And oh, may I call you Allie? That's all right, I'll call you Alexa. Allie. What's the title of your book?
We're all wonders.
We're All Wonders. So you read this book. Hold your book. And you read this book.
Yes.
And do you recommend this book?
Yes.
Yes. Now, why do you recommend this book?
Well, I personally think it's a great story about how even though we're all different, we're all the same inside. And we're all great people.
We are all great people. That is a great message. I did read that book. I agree with Jake. I recommend that you read it. And I think we are all great people, even though we're different and the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alexa, you read this book, We're All Wonders. And I noticed that the picture looks similar. Can you tell me why?
Because they're both wonder books and illustrated by the same author. And I like this book because it teaches you a very important lesson about each other.
That is awesome. I have not read that book, but because you recommended it, I'm going to read it. And I hope you boys and girls out in the classroom read these highly recommended books. So if you have a book that you would recommend to the school, stop by my room. I have a book recommendation paper that you can fill out. You might get yourself on the announcements and have your book recommendation hung up in the hallway outside the gym. Thank you. Have a great day.
So like I said, once they knew they could be on the announcements, it took off. And I made sure after work today, I went around. We have, like the display that we have behind the board, we have about 3 of those up in the main hallway to our gym. And I counted over 250, close to 300, 250 reviews hanging, and about 40 that I just haven't had to get up, one of them being Connor's. One of the other pieces in building our cultural literacy at Evans was working just at Evans as a community. Obviously, we have the Scholastic Book Fairs. They're one of the biggest in the area, where we often use the Been Caught Reading tickets from Scholastic, where the students can put their name, their Been Caught Reading tickets in a box, and then they have an opportunity to win a book. We also have the Offer Books, which is used with the Scholastic money raised for classroom donations and charities. Over the years, we did different other reading incentives. We've done Words of the Week, where I would go on the announcements and do vocabulary words that we would post in the lobby. We tried that a couple years. I like to mix it up. It keeps me interested, and it also keeps the students interested. And we've also had numerous author visits over the years. I'd like to thank, with that being said, I'd like to thank Town Book Center. Again, we've networked with Town Book Center, which is the bookstore in the Wegman Shopping Center, Shop Local, Buy Indie. They are phenomenal. They work with us really closely, and as a matter of fact, the majority of our authors that I use through Town Book Center, Evans gets for free. All I have to do is make the arrangements with Mrs. Havrilla and schedule the assemblies. But we've had some really great authors. We used to have one a year. We're up to 2, sometimes 3 authors a year. Also working with our community, we had the Western Mont Tech Center students. They've come over as volunteer readers to read with our students. We did that in the fall, and it was very successful. We always encourage parents to come in. And another piece that we have is Evans Magnificent Mentors, which Mrs. Havrilla and Mrs. Weber, our IST teacher, they run this program where we have high school volunteers come down. They often do a lot of remediation and some maybe reading or math tutoring, but they've also read with our students. So it's great to have the high schoolers come down to the elementary level. And of course, I'd be remiss if I forgot to mention how we celebrate Seuss. Seuss's birthday, it used to be just March 2nd on Seuss's birthday, but it now has turned into a week-long Seuss-abration. The Cat in the Hat was going to come tonight, but Mrs. Havrilla didn't think that would be wise considering his behavior. This year, actually last year, we actually had a bracket where the whole school voted, and we would pit one Seuss book against another one until we had a winner. That was a huge success, so much last year that we did it again this year. And that leads me to talk about our One Book, One School that we've been doing since 2010. This is, again, where we wanted to create that unity. We're a big school, and over the years, we've gone from 4 or 5, almost close to 600 students. So how do you make 600 students feel like a community? So we did the One Book, One School in 2010 with a mouse called Wolf, and what we actually did was get the book for each individual classroom teacher, and we set aside 4 weeks, and we would assign a chapter per day for the entire school, and we would provide different opportunities, different activity centers throughout the school, whether it would be a vocabulary hallway, a comprehension question hallway, and then we would have an assembly to celebrate the book. And that was a huge success. Like I said, last year we did more of the Seuss celebration where we read all the Seuss books. This year we did it a little differently. We tied in with our Reach for the Stars school theme, and we also, through our pro-social committee, have Unity Days, where we have the school participating in team building and unity activities. So we actually found picture books that we incorporated and had the school read on those days, and that happened to be Reach for the Stars and Only One You. One of the things that we did tie in with our One Book, One School was Family Reading Night. Something that we started in 2010, and I know the district started last year, their district literacy night. We are proud to say we've been doing family reading night since 2010. What we've done there, we've had a different approach, different times. Sometimes we timed it in with our One Book, One School, and we would have activities based on that book. Other times we would just have pro-literacy activities. These are just some flyers from some events that we had in the past. We would invite our therapy dogs. This year's family reading night, we had 10 therapy dogs in our gym. Huge hit. The kids came in for family reading night, went straight to the gym to read with the dogs. We had one student bring his own book and said, "I'm here for the dogs. Where are they?" It was great. I'd like to invite Jacob Henson up again so he can talk a little bit about family reading night.
Along with the book fairs, there is a family reading night where you can go to stations throughout the school to do different fun reading activities. This year, the stations were Create Your Own Rock, based on the story Only One You, and you could also create your own bookmark. There was also a station where you could write about your family's favorite book. Another activity we did was story time in the library with Mrs. Reagan Harris. The featured books were Only One You and Reach for the Stars. Finally, there was a station in the gym where you could pick a book and read to the dogs. I enjoyed family reading night because there were a lot of activities that I had fun doing with my family.
Moving forward, next year, our school theme is Evans Elementary, where an idea can change the world. So we have three Unity Days planned, where we have what you do with an idea as one book, what you do with a problem, and what you do with a chance. These are awesome books. I brought them if anybody's interested to check these out. We're really excited about next year's school theme, and these will be our One Book, One School for next year. We're always looking for ideas. I'm not too proud. I will steal that vocabulary parade from Royersford Elementary. I thought that was awesome, so kudos to them, and I'm totally going to steal that idea. We'd like to increase just the actual surrounding community involvement. We already have Fire Prevention Day where we have our fire department at Evans. So why not just invite them into a classroom to share a book? Because I think that would be powerful for our students, along with Limerick Police Department. And of course, January, I do understand, is School Board Appreciation Month. We would be more than honored to have any school board member come in as a guest reader for our students. And that ends our presentation. I would just like to again thank three phenomenal students. We're very blessed. Evans Elementary has a great student population and a great family base. We wouldn't be who we are without our families. So I'd like again to acknowledge Alexa Henson, Jacob Henson, and Connor Russo.